Hey, what's up guys? Hardleg Joe here with your What a Deck profile for the Cyber Angel Ultimateness deck. I'm just going to go through everything in here and then I'll explain how it works. So we're playing 3 Megami, 3 Manju of the 10,000 Hands, 2 Honest, 3 Cyber Petite Angel, 3 Herald of Ultimateness, 2 Vrash the Stampede, 3 Dakini, 3 Benten, and 3 Idaten. For our spells, we have 2 Instant Fusion, 1 Raigeki, 1 Soul Charge, 3 Terraforming, 3 Machine Angel Ritual, 2 Advanced Ritual Art, and 3 Ritual Sanctuary. The extra deck, we've got 1 Panzer Dragon, 1 Elder Entity Norden, 1 Thousand Eyes Restrict, Utopia Beyond, Photon Strike Bouncer, Utopia the Lightning, Ragna Zero, Silent Honor Arc, Heartland Draco, Castell, Fairy Cheer Girl, Gaga Cowboy, Gachi Gachi, and Sky Cavalry. The side deck I'll go over shortly. So this deck has 2 main win conditions. First is to get Herald of Ultimateness and sit on it, and the other one is more of a beatdown-oriented deck based on these 2 more powerful Cyber Angels along with using Honest. So I'll go over those one at a time. First we got Herald of Ultimateness. Has 2,000 attack, 3,000 defense, and during either player's turn when your opponent would special summon a monster or activate a spell trap card or monster effect, send 1 fairy-type monster from your hand to the graveyard, negate the activation or special summon, and destroy it. So he negates everything, special summon, spell trap, monster effects, whatever you want to do by discarding a fairy. All the monsters in this deck are fairies, all the rituals are, so you'll never be wanting for discard fodder. To special summon him, we use Advanced Ritual Art because that doesn't cost anything from our hand. This lets you ritual summon 1 monster from your hand by sending normal monsters from your deck to the graveyard, whose levels are exactly equal. So since he's level 12, that's why we play these level 6 normal monsters. You could send 2 of them from the deck to the graveyard to summon out Ultimateness. Once he's out, like I said, all of these are fairies, but then in addition to that, we're playing this field spell, Ritual Sanctuary. It has a couple effects, but the most important one for Ultimateness is that you can discard 1 spell card to add 1 light ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. So, if you draw a fairy, you're fine, you've got discard fodder. If you draw a spell, any spell, including your terraformings or your machine angel rituals, you can discard it to add 1 of these ritual monsters from your deck to your hand, and since they're all fairies, you're just getting more fodder. So every card you have, once you have the field spell, becomes discard fodder for Ultimateness. In addition, it has this other effect that you can shuffle spells from your graveyard back into the deck, and then summon a monster from your graveyard whose level is equal to the number of spells that you shuffled in. This is relevant with Cyber Petite Angel. This is if this card is summoned, you can add 1 Cyber Angel monster or Machine Angel ritual from your deck to your hand. So once you summon this, you're adding a Cyber Angel, so it's already replacing itself in your hand. And then once it gets destroyed, it's in the graveyard. If you have your Ritual Sanctuary, you can recycle any of your spells, shuffle them back into the deck to summon this back again, and add another Cyber Angel. So it allows you to slowly build up more and more fairies in your hand. That's also why we play these one-ofs. I normally don't like to play one-ofs like Raigeki and Soul Charge, but they're pretty good almost all the time, and then you can recycle them by sending them back into Ritual Sanctuary, so you have the potential to Raigeki or Soul Charge multiple times. So in order to make Ultimateness, not only do you need the monster itself, but you also need Advanced Ritual Art, which can be searched either with Manju of the 10,000 Hands. This searches any ritual monster or ritual spell, so you can search either of those 2 if you don't have the other one. And then you can also, of course, use Ritual Sanctuary, because this will let you discard any spell and add Advanced Ritual Art. So you can summon him, I'd say, about 1/4 of the time. You can have him in your opening hand. If you don't, then you're running on the Cyber Angels, which are also pretty decent. They've got 2 big boss monsters that I use mostly. This is Vrash and Dakini. Vrash has 3,000 attack, which is pretty awesome. 10 stars, which is kind of a big cost, but you can always discard Ultimateness for the entire cost. This is when it's summoned, you destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned from the extra deck. If you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent for each, and you can attack twice during that battle phase. So this thing can just OTK on its own if your opponent has a field set up with like 2 monsters from the extra deck. That's 2,000 attack, plus they can attack twice for 3,000. You're set. Of course, if they don't have extra deck monsters, or if they have something that can't be destroyed or something like that, this isn't as good. That's why we only play 2 of it. Plus, it's just more stars, so unless you have Ultimateness or like an 8 and a 2, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to summon out Vrash. It also has the neat effect that during either player's turn, if an effect is activated that would destroy a card on the field, you can shuffle 1 ritual monster from your graveyard into the deck to negate the activation and destroy it. So that effect not only stops things like Raigeki that would destroy Vrash on its own, but also things like Twin Twister, any card that would destroy cards on the field. And of course, usually you're going to be tributing one of your ritual monsters in order to get this out. So you're going to have at least one. Sometimes you can have multiple if you've been discarding with Ultimateness. Dakini, on the other hand, is a little bit more vulnerable. It doesn't have any defensive effects. Its offensive effects is when it's summoned, you can make your opponent send one monster they control to the graveyard. They get to choose it, but of course it's non-targeting removal that's non-destruction, so pretty nice on that thing. It also lets all your ritual monsters do piercing damage, and finally during the end phase you can add one Machine Angel ritual or one of your Cyber Angels from your graveyard to your hand. So this is what I use most of the time. It's good for piercing, good like removal. If they just have one monster out, you can make them send it to the graveyard. What's great is if you can get Ultimateness with Dakini out, then not only can they not stall, because every defense monster they said is just getting pierced, but also every time you discard, then during the end phase, you can just add a Cyber Angel back to your hand. The other two Cyber Angels, Benten and Acton, I don't really summon them very often. You can summon them with Advanced Ritual Art because they're both 6s, and we've got the 6, but they just have a very little attack, 1800 and 1600 respectively. They're more used for their effects that if they're tributed for like a ritual summon, you get specific effects. Acton lets all your ritual monsters gain 1000 attack and defense. Benten, on the other hand, if this is tributed, you can add one light fairy-type monster from your deck to your hand, which is usually used to grab Honest, because, hey, you could search Honest. On the off chance you're unfamiliar with Honest, it's during either player's turn when an attack is declared between a light monster, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and that light monster will gain attack equal to the other monster's attack. Especially in the case of Vrash, where you can attack twice, or in the case of this, where you can do piercing damage. It's really, really good. In addition, you can use this with Ritual Sanctuary. If you get 4 spells into the graveyard, you can shuffle them back into the deck, get Honest out of the graveyard, and Honest has the additional effect that if it's on the field, you can return it to your hand. So we're recycling Honest, which is always good. It only takes a couple Honests, especially against, like, really high attack point monsters that just do massive amounts of damage to your opponent. The only other things I didn't talk about, we have Instant Fusion. Just a nice little tech card. Of course, it's a spell, so you can discard it for Ritual Sanctuary. Then you can, of course, use it for Elder Entity Norden. This is how we make a lot of our rank 4s, because you can use it to get Manju back out. And you got your 2 level 4s, so you can make things like Utopia the Lightning. Oftentimes, I make Fairy Cheer Girl, because Norden is actually a fairy as well, so you get 2 fairy monsters, and she lets you detach to draw a card, which if you've got Ultimateness out and you really need more cards, that can be a good way to do it. The rest of the cards in the extra deck, I've got the one Panzer Dragon. If you don't know, this is if it's destroyed, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. And Instant Fusion will destroy it at the end phase, so if you really need to get rid of something, because this has no spell trap removal, you summon Panzer Dragon, wait until the end phase, and it'll destroy it. We've also got Thousand Eyes Restrict. This will allow you to take one monster your opponent controls and equip it, and then in the end phase, when it's destroyed, that monster will be removed from the field as well. So we've got a couple different options. We're only playing 2, but like with everything, you can recycle it back into the deck and use it again. The rest of the extra deck, it's mostly just a rank 4 toolbox. We've got a couple rank 2s because you could summon out your Cyber Petite Angels from time to time. And then we've got a couple rank 6s just in case you get 2 of these out, or 1 of these and like a Benten or an Acton. Because, of course, if worse comes to worse, you can always have 6 spell cards in the graveyard and use Ritual Sanctuary to get one of these back out. Other than that, it's really just the side deck. Stuff that I'd actually consider in the side deck would be Twin Twisters. You need some spell trap removal. If you can't get out Ultimateness first turn, you're really going to have a lot of trouble with that, especially certain Pendulum decks and stuff like that. Also, Medion and Cephalon, the Time Lords. These are great because they're level 10, so you can use them as tribute for any of these, and they're also fairies. This is also some good, like, non-targeting removal. If you're going against a more aggressive deck where Ultimateness isn't really going to be an option, you could always get rid of these normal monsters and these advanced ritual arts and these heralds and just replace them with like some of these, maybe another Vrash, and stuff like Gather Your Mind, which is normally a really dumb card, but it actually works pretty well with this. It's deck thinning. You just add another Gather Your Mind from your deck to your hand. Only really works in this because you're getting more spells into the graveyard, which you can then shuffle back into the deck. So every turn you can just activate another Gather Your Mind, because you're constantly putting them back with Ritual Sanctuary. Of course, another Instant Fusion can always be good. And if you wanted to go for the pure Herald of Ultimateness, basically what I would recommend is get rid of the Machine Angel rituals, or just run one of them, and instead run like 3 Oracle, the Herald, and 3 Pre-Preparations of Rites. Get rid of these like Instant Fusions too. If you add those in, you should be able to get Herald out fast enough, and then it's just a matter of keeping them there, stalling, and hopefully being able to do some damage. You just gotta worry, because the only way to make room for those and make it work is to get rid of these Machine Angel rituals, and just focus on more advanced rituals, more Oracle, the Herald, and then using Ritual Sanctuary to discard when you do need your Machine Angel ritual. So there you go, there's your deck profile for this week. Not the best deck, you could probably make a better Herald of Ultimateness Turbo, or just a pure Cyber Angel, but the two of them is an interesting experiment. It was fun to do. Next week, I'll be looking back at Gem Knights, hopefully, if I can get them to work properly. Until then, good luck, have fun.